Welcome back, everybody. I am Mohib, your trainer for this entire series. You're watching me on Code with Mohib YouTube channel. Hope you have liked and subscribed on my YouTube channel and shared with your friends. And also you have watched my previous video on Web Framework, MVT, and Django introduction. In continuation of this free Django series, in this video I am going to show you how to install Django in both virtual environment and globally. So without wasting time, let's get started. Since Django is a web application framework, so there are some prerequisites for starting Django. The prerequisites for starting Django are HTML because we are creating web pages, so it is better to have knowledge on HTML. To design our web pages or to make the presentation layer of our web applications or web pages, we need to know about CSS as well. Besides CSS, we also have to know about Bootstrap. To make the web pages or to give behavioral to our web pages, so it is better to know about JavaScript as well. Since we are creating web applications that are connecting with database or they interact with database, so it is better to have basic knowledge on SQL as well. SQL. Basic knowledge means like knowing how select query works, update query, delete query, insert query, or very simply I can say the CRUD operations. Django is a framework that is based on Python. So better to have the basic information or the basic knowledge of Python, like what a class is, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance, how functions work, what are arguments, and all these things. And also we should know about pip, which is a package manager through which we can install and uninstall packages. To work with Django, it is better to have Python installed in our system, and that too Python 3 or higher version of Python. But we cannot work with lower version of Python like Python 2. Besides that, we must have a text editor as well. Text editor might be like Notepad++, Visual Code, Atom, Bracket, PyCharm, and so on. And a web browser we need, because we are running our web applications on a server. In order to send requests and get response, we should have a browser. So to check that Python is installed in our system or not, we type Python version in command prompt. And to see if pip is installed or not, again we type pip version. It shows both commands show whether Python and pip are installed or not. So to do that, let's open our CMD. To open our CMD, we simply type CMD, and the CMD will be opened, and type Python version. Python is not installed, and let's check whether pip is installed or not. Pip version. Now let's see that pip is not installed either. To install Python and pip, we simply go to the official website of Python, and in Python official website go to Downloads tab. In Downloads we can simply click on Download Python 3.12, and it is the latest version of Python, and it will be installed and it will be downloaded. I'll not download it because I have already downloaded, so just simply click on I'll come to Downloads, Python 3.12. So here we have admin privileges. We have to check this one. This is very important. At the same time, add Python exit to path. This will add Python to our path environment variable. So you do remember and make sure that these two options are checked. Then just click on install now and you can see that pip will also be installed. Just I'll click this one and it will ask for confirmation and we'll just click yes and Python will be installed. So Python setup was successfully installed. So close it and once again open your CMD and make sure that a new CMD should be open and new command prompt should be open. If you have opened the older one, so it will still not show that Python is not, even though you have installed Python. So close the old one and open a new one. So let's type Python hyphen version. So it shows that Python is installed and let's check pip is installed or not. So to check pip, so pip hyphen version and it shows that pip is also installed. So the next thing that we said in installation, in the requirements, we need Python, then we need pip and text editors. Text editor, you can install Notepad++, you can have, for example, Visual Code, Atom, Brackets, PyCharm, any of these code editors you can use. I have Visual Code installed in my system. So if you want to install that one, just go to Google and type for Visual Studio Code. And here you can go to the official website of Visual Studio. Just go and click on download and you can download for your Windows or any of the operating systems you have. So from here you can download your text editor. Now let's talk about checking whether Django is installed in our system or not. To check whether Django is installed in our system or not, we type Django admin version. This will show that Django is installed in our system or not. So for that one, let's type Django admin version, and it shows that Django is not installed. Now let's talk about this, how to install Django. So how to install Django. If we want to install Django, we can install Django in two methods. We can install Django in virtual environment, or we can install Django in global. And it means in all systems. It means you can access Django from every part of your system. So let's talk about the first one, the first method, that is installing Django in a virtual environment. I'll divide this part in two different methods. One is for installing, 2 steps. I will do the installation, and the next one I will do the uninstallation. So it means I will do both installation, how to install, and how to uninstall. So we'll talk about this one first. So for that one, I'll write here virtual environment into virtual environment. So in virtual environment, I will simply go to 2 options. One is the installing, and the second one is uninstalling. Steps to follow about to install Python in a virtual environment. We have 3 steps to do that one. The first step to do is we have to install virtual environment wrapper. We have to install virtual environment wrapper. And the second one is we have to create virtual environment. And the third one, we can install Django in virtual environment. To create or install virtual environment wrapper, we can type this command, that is pip install virtual env, which stands for environment wrapper -win. This will install the virtual environment wrapper. To create virtual environment, we simply type mk, which stands for make virtual environment, and we can write our virtual environment name. For example, I'll type make virtual env, for example, code with Mohib. This is the environment name or the virtual environment name. And to install Django in this virtual environment, which is code with Mohib in our example, we can simply install by typing pip install Django. Or if you want to install a specific version of Django, then we type pip install Django equals 2.0, for example. Now these are the 3 steps that we have to do. In case you have closed your command prompt to activate our virtual environment, we can type or we can write the command below, that is work on, then we write the virtual environment name. So let me write here, it is better to write that one as well, how to activate virtual environment. Virtual environment. To activate virtual environment, we just type work on, and the environment name. For example, work on or virtual environment name is code with Mohib. That's it. So these are the steps. These are the 3 important steps. Number 1, number 2, number 3. These are the important steps that we are creating or installing virtual environment and installing Django in virtual environment. And this is when we close our command prompt, then when we want to activate our virtual environment back, then we type this command. I'll save this photo so that based on this photo, I'll just teach this one. So let me write virtual environment. This is saved here, and I'll open the image. So through this image, I'll continue. So the first one is installing virtual environment wrapper. To install virtual environment wrapper, we type this one. So let's write. I write pip install virtual env, which stands for environment wrapper -win. It will create the virtual environment wrapper which is created. The second thing is here that we have to create the virtual environment. In order to create a virtual environment, we write mk, which stands for make virtual env, and we have to write a name by write code with Mohib. Once we type this one, oh, there is a mistake in spelling. Okay, virtual environment code with Mohib. I have written EVN, that is in fact ENV. So let's enter, and the virtual environment already exists. I will make another one, that is mk virtual env. I will write for example Python test. I will write Python test. Once we write Python test, then you can see that automatically we will be shifted to Python test virtual environment. Now in this one, we can install our Python and we can install our Django. That is by typing pip install Django. Django, that will install our Django inside Python test. So let's type this one and hit enter, and you can see that Django is installed inside this virtual environment. So Django is installed inside this environment variable. Now we can check the version of our Django. So to check that one, simply we write Django -admin version. We can check the version of our Django. Now you can see that we are inside this virtual environment. In case we close our CMD and we open it again, and you see that we are no longer inside that virtual environment. So in order to go to that virtual environment or to activate that virtual environment, we type this command work on and the virtual environment name. So that is work on Python test. I will write Python test, and you can see that Python test virtual environment is activated. Now that we have installed Python, pip, and also created environment wrapper, we also have created virtual environment and installed our Python inside virtual environment. Now let's create a project inside virtual environment. Before creating project inside virtual environment, we have to have the definition of project, because doing Django projects, there are two terms that are mostly used inside that. These terms are Django project, Django application. So the definition is something like this. A Django project may contain multiple project applications. A Django project may contain multiple project applications. There are two terms. One is project, the second one is project application. So remember that in Django, application is not project, and project is not application. Application is not project, project is not application. So then what is application and what is project? Application is part of Django project. Application is part of Django project. Then what is project? Project is a group of applications. Project is a group of applications. These two terms are mostly used in Django projects. So sometimes we use the term application and sometimes we use the term project. So when creating Django projects, we install applications inside project. Let's take an example. Assume that you want to create a project for university. I call this uni project. Inside this university project, we may have multiple applications. For example, we may have a registration application, we may have fee application, we may have attendance application. Let me write attendance application. We may have a result application. We may have several types of applications. Now you can see that this is a project and these are applications. As mentioned here, that application is not a project, project is not application. So what is application? Application is part of Django project. So you can see that each one of these applications It's part of what? Part of the project. Then what is project? Project. So project is a group of what? A group of applications. We can see that inside this project we have different types of applications. Now, how to create a project in Django? To create a project in Django, we type Django-admin start project, and here we write project name. We write our project name. For example, let's write, for example, Django-admin start project, and we write the project name uni project, and it will create a project named uni project. Now, how the structure will be shown, or how the structure will be created, will be like this. So you will see that we will have a uni project, and inside uni project we will have these two parts. One is the uni project, exactly the same name as this one. We will have a directory or a folder. This is called the inner project folder, and this is called the outer project folder. And also we will have another file that is called manage.py, and this is a file. Inside this inner project folder or inner project directory, we will have these files. One is __init__.py. The second we will have asgi.py. Next one we'll have urls.py. Another wsgi.py. These are the, and one other that is settings.py. These are the files that we will have inside the inner project. Now let's create this project. I'll save this one. For inner project. I will write project structure. I'll save this, and let's begin. Now let's make the project. So to create our project, practically, first we create a folder here. I'll call this folder as Django. Let me write Django. Inside this one, I'll open CMD, activate first work on Python test. I'll activate this one, activate this virtual environment, and inside this one I'll create my project. That is Django-admin start project uni project. I'll name it as uniproj. It's a simple name. It is better to name this a simple name, uniproj. And you can see that inside this folder that I created Django, inside this one uni project will be created. This is the outer project folder. Inside outer project folder, you will see we have the inner project folder with the same name and manage.py, as I mentioned or showed here. So you can see that inside our project folder, that's uni project, but I have named this as a uniproj. So inside this outer folder we have one inner folder and manage.py. Now inside this one we have these files, init.py, settings, urls, and wsgi or wsgi file. Now to see that our Django project is installed, we have to run our server. To run our server, we can type python manage.py run server. With this command, with this whole command, we can run our server. But make sure that you are inside the virtual environment. If you're not inside the virtual environment, this will not work. So let's type. Now assume that I'll open CMD. Here I'll write python manage.py and run server, and you can see that it will not run. It will not run. Why? Because our project is created inside what? Inside our virtual environment. You might be asking that, okay, let's write here. So cmd, I'll write python manage.py run server. Once we run here, it will not run as well. So to do that one, first you have to activate your virtual environment. To activate virtual environment, make sure that you are inside the folder that we have manage.py file in. So cmd, now let's write here. First, let's activate the virtual environment, work on python test. Now that it is activated, now you can run your server. Python manage.py run server. You just run the server will be run. So here, this is the link and the port number that is given to us. So we can copy this one, we can copy this, edit, copy, open the browser and paste it here, enter, and you can see that the project is installed. Now, how to work with project, that is later we'll talk about. So now we have talked about virtual environment, how to install virtual environment. Now let's talk about the uninstalling of virtual environment, how to uninstall Django from virtual environment. To uninstall, first we have to be in our virtual environment. Let me write here first what we have. I'll just expand this one. I'll activate my application. The first thing we have to active the virtual environment. Once you are inside virtual environment, then we have to uninstall Django. It means this is the first step, this is the second step. So how to go inside or how to activate our virtual environment, that is by typing this one. The second one, we can uninstall Django. Uninstall Django or uninstalling Django is by pip uninstall Django. That's it. That is the common. Here we have typed pip install Django, but here we can type pip uninstall Django. If you want to uninstall a specific version, so we can type pip uninstall Django equals 2.0. For example, if you have installed this one, you can uninstall this one. After uninstalling Python or Django, we can remove our virtual environment. So here we type mk, which stands for make directory, but make virtual environment, this mk stands for make. Now the next step is to just remove this one. It means to delete the virtual environment. To delete the virtual environment or to remove the virtual environment, make sure that you are not inside this virtual environment, because you are deleting this one. You have to be out of this one. So to do that one, let me write here. The next step is to remove virtual environment. To remove virtual environment, we simply type rm, which stands for remove virtual env virtual environment, and you can write the name. The name is python test. In our case, it is python test. So it will be removed. And the last one is to uninstall virtual wrapper. To uninstall virtual wrapper, we simply type pip uninstall virtual environment wrapper. To do that one, I'll just type here. I'll type here to uninstall virtual environment wrapper. To uninstall virtual environment wrapper, exactly in installing virtual environment wrapper, we have typed pip install, but here we type pip pip and install virtual environment wrapper hyphen. It will uninstall the virtual environment wrapper. So let me save this one. I'll save this one as uninstalling. So let's continue with this one. Here I'll uninstalling virtual wrapper. I'll go through this image. So the first one, uninstall this with the active, the virtual environment. To active virtual environment, we just type this one. Let me open CMD. I'll open this one. So in this one, we have to type work on Python test. This is, we activated here the Python test virtual environment. The next one is uninstalling Django. To uninstall Django, we just type this one, pip uninstall Django. It will uninstall Django for us. So it is uninstalled, yes, to confirm that we want to uninstall Python. So it is uninstalled. So the next one, remove virtual environment. To remove virtual environment, we just type this one, rm virtual environment and the virtual environment name. So by typing this command, we removed or we deleted the Python test virtual environment. And now we can delete or uninstall our virtual environment wrapper. To uninstall that one, simply we type pip uninstall virtual environment wrapper -win. Just type this one and it will uninstall. So because why it gives this one, because we were inside the virtual environment and we deleted this one, and that's why it has uninstalled. So when we type this one, pip uninstall virtual environment wrapper -win, this will give this warning, that is skipping virtual environment wrapper -win as it is not installed. That is because we were inside the virtual environment. For that reason, it has uninstalled the virtual environment, and at the same time it has deleted or uninstalled our virtual environment wrapper. So this is the first method that I showed, that we can install Django in two ways. We can install in a virtual wrapper, and the second is globally. To install Django globally, so we talked about installation of Django. We talked about installation of Django. We said that we can install Django in two ways. One, we can install in separate directory or virtual environment, and the second one is globally. We can install Django globally. In this method also we have two ways. One, we will try to install it, and then we will uninstall it. So I will perform this one in installation and uninstalling. To install Django globally, it is quite simple. Simply open your CMD and type pip install Django. That much easy. Or if you want to install a specific version of Django, then we type pip install Django equals to point any version you want, you can install. And same thing, creating project is the same way, and uninstalling is simply you can type pip uninstall Django. It will uninstall our Django. In case you want to uninstall a specific version, then we simply type pip uninstall Django equals 2.1, 2.3, 2.4, any version you can uninstall it. Right? Since Django is globally installed, we can create our project anywhere we want. There is no need of activating a virtual environment because we do not have virtual environment in this method. Now let's create a project. First thing we have, let me delete this one. This is the project we created. It will not delete because we have opened our server here. The first thing we can close the server, we can close the application, and now let's delete our application. Now let's delete our application and install Django globally. To install Django globally, simply we type pip install Django. To install Django globally, we open CMD, and here we type pip install Django. It will simply install Django globally. Yeah. Now you can check the version of Django. Django-admin version. And you can see Django is installed globally. Now we can create our project. Now let me create a folder first. I'll name it as Django project. Inside this one I can create our project. To do that one, simply I write CMD and I open CMD inside this folder Django project, and now I can create our project. So Django-admin start project. I'll name it as uni project. It will create our uni project, and you can see that uni project is created. The same structure. This is the inner project folder, and this is the manage.py. Come to inside the outer project folder, and here when you see the manage.py, here you open cmd and run server. Python manage.py run server, and we can have the server, and we can see that this is the server and its port number, and we can copy this. Let's copy this one, copy and paste it here. Now you can see that project is installed. To uninstall Django, simply type pip uninstall Django. So to do that one, first I'll stop the server. I will press Ctrl and C, or Ctrl plus C. It will stop the server. Now let's uninstall. To uninstall Django globally, we can open our CMD. We can open our CMD and type pip uninstall pip uninstall Django, and it will uninstall Django from system, and it will ask for a confirmation, and we'll type yes, Y, which stands for yes, and successfully uninstall Django. And you can see that there is no Django in our system. Django-admin version, and you see that Django is uninstalled. So this was for today's lecture, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.